Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to go over the annual shareholder meeting for Zion Oil and Gas, ticker symbol ZNOG. Apologize, it's taken me so long to get to you on the review video. Like I told everyone for the past several weeks, I have prior obligations, but I'm free now. And I literally just finished watching the annual shareholder meeting and taking notes. So I want to provide a quick summary and update on that at the very end. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the meeting, talk about my plans moving forward, and also break down the charts for those of you who are interested in hanging out to the end. So let's go ahead and dive right on into it. So it started off, they had discussed the proxy votes. They gave people time to vote again. Those who didn't, they gave them additional time, and they talked about what passed, what didn't pass. I honestly skipped over that because I wanted to get into what else they were going to tell us. I really didn't care about what passed and what didn't pass, to be honest with you, because I figured everything would pass. So the notes I've taken from the initial thing, they talked about financing from the start, and they said that cash on hand is currently $8.2 million. Raised a total of $9.4 million through the DSPP. I think from the past either 30 to 90 days. I can't remember exactly what they said. And then they have an additional $13.2 million in warrants that'll provide some additional cash to Zion Oil and Gas in once those rights are exercised. So I said that we had the largest total depth oil explorational well in Israel at 18,000 feet or 5.5 kilometers. They drilled through very difficult environments, including high temperature, pressure at target depth, and highly complex and congruent geology. Then they went through the timeline of 2021 to now. November 22nd, 2021, drilling was completed. December 14th, 2021, they had a feasibility study completed. January 15th, they analyzed the feasibility study and identified 4 potential production zones. March 15th of 2022, they completed and tested equipment. Completion and testing equipment was secured. It took them 7 months to get it from the time of purchase and to ship it to them to get it. It took 7 total months to get that. And then on May 6th, the final casing was cemented. MJ2 operations officially completed. So then they talked about what happened, basically what caused some of the delays. Well, on top of, we're going to talk about that in a second, logistical issues that they had, quarantines, global supply chain, stuff like that. They also, whenever they were drilling down in the shale area, the shale broke. It came apart and got loose and basically started moving around into the pipe while they were drilling and basically prevented rotation, and they had to stop drilling. And they decided to use DWC, which is drilling while casing. So basically go down and basically case the hole while you're drilling. They consulted with companies from Texas, Bolivia, and the UK on how to basically hold that shale in place. That way it didn't just fall through and fall down. After they finished doing that, they tried to pull out, but the torque ring broke and it actually fell inside the hole. So basically they had to do it again, but they were successful the second go round. Some of the issues they encountered this year, which is some of the things that made them take a lot longer than expected, was logistic issues created by the pandemic and the global supply chain and manufacturing interruptions. Quarantines, they had people that were obviously supposed to come to work and couldn't work, so they had to deal with issues on that as well. And the oil prices rising, said that they had a boom of oil rig startup companies. And then also they were kind of lucky on that end because they had a lot of people ordering equipment, but they were lucky to order a bunch of their equipment on time. He said if this would have happened, any other time, then they basically would have been done. Like they would have had to just not do anything. They couldn't get anything. So they ordered everything at the right time. Got lucky on that end. Some additional notes and info. They did today completed the well with a 6-inch borehole, which is significantly larger than the MJ1, and we're currently still in the testing phase of the MJ2. Some questions that were asked. I didn't catch all the questions. I got some of the questions and got as many as I could down. And it says, why not always use DWC, drilling while casing? It says sometimes you could do that, but sometimes it's not strong enough to support what you're trying to do and where you're trying to drill. Okay. Another question asked was, why don't you release more information, or why haven't you released any more information? It says basically to protect the interests of the shareholders and the intellectual property of the company, which is basically the depth, lithology, geology, the seismic data, drilling plans, things of that nature. Said that is apparently intellectual property of the company. Someone asked, are we in a good standing with the ministry in Israel? And they said yes. They actually had a site visit yesterday, and they've always been in good standings in the past 20 years with the ministry, never had any issues on that end. Someone said, can you provide updates more frequent? And they said, well, we're not going to put out any more updates unless it's material events that have been, and we're not going to put anything that hadn't been vetted. We don't want to speculate on anything, so we don't want to give any information. Now, we're going to talk about that in a second too. They did say that this is night and day compared from MJ1 to MJ2 in regards to how they can do things, not only with the drilling, but like through the pandemic and logistics and everything. They said it was so much easier to get things going, basically, and it's not something that'll happen. It happens every day as you have a global pandemic and supply chain issue and things like that. But yeah, so they're definitely night and day compared to as far as updates, because apparently they used to update a lot more when the MJ1 was taking place. I wasn't in at that point. Okay, so that was before my time. Someone asked just flat out, do we find oil? And they didn't come out and say yes, but they said all we can say, well, we're in the process of testing. So yes, they found something. They wouldn't bring all the testing crews in unless they found something. So yes, they're in the process of testing. So yeah, they did find something down there, and now they're going to test it and see what's what. Someone actually asked right after that, I don't know if it was right after, but they talked about, is there a possibility that you will find gas as opposed to oil? And, again, I don't want to speculate, so who knows? Not a clue what they found yet. So they asked about the license, and the new license, and the paperwork has been submitted, and it's in the hands of the ministry. He asked if he was optimistic, and he said he's not going to speculate. So we're going to talk about that here in a minute as well. So these are some of the questions that stood out to me that I jotted down. So we'll go on to the next section here. Here's my thoughts overall. Dunn did not sound confident at all compared to last year. Last year, he was so much more confident. When asked when he was optimistic, he was all giddy and said, of course I'm optimistic. I'm in the oil and gas field, or in the oil and gas industry, if you remember that. This time, he didn't seem optimistic at all. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of was a little sketchy to me. The guys in the room, no one seemed very excited to be there. If I'm being completely honest, it was just kind of strange watching on video. At one point this guy was like rubbing his hands over his face, kind of like, why do I have to sit through this meeting type thing. So I don't know, like, just kind of watching these guys, on camera and listening to Robert Dunn, he did not sound very confident. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think, but in my opinion, he didn't sound, as confident as you should if something was coming. Yes, I think we did. Obviously, we found oil, but we don't know if it's commercially viable yet, because they wouldn't send all of these companies out to test, and they wouldn't order all the testing equipment, okay, to be sent over there if they weren't going to use it on something. So I think they were successful on that end as far as finding something. Now we just kind of have to wait it out. They talked about being transparent with the ministry. So why not the shareholders? That's my thing. It's like we were in good standing with the ministry because we're always transparent with what's going on. Why in the hell aren't they transparent with us? Because they'll just leave us in the dark for weeks and months at a time. So that really, I'll tell you, this meeting rubbed me, the wrong way. Although there was some good information, there were some things said that was kind of like, oh, come on, man. I honestly think that we might go down to, test the 15, 12 and a half, 10 cent mark, because I don't know if we're going to hear anything, over the next couple of weeks based on their track record. And I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm just trying to come out and say that there's a potential chance that we might, we might see that. We might see that, that if we don't get any type of news, that we could kind of come down. And here's why, okay? Because the run-up that we had was basically pure speculation. Dunn mentioned about 10 times in the meeting when I listened was, we don't want to speculate. Our run-up that we've had was off of pure speculation. Okay, the thing ran up from, 10 cents, and we started moving up to 15, and then to 20, and then to 25, to 30, got all the way to 42 cents off of the fact that I think the annual shareholder meeting was coming, and everyone expected them to A, release a press release prior to the meeting, or B, announce that we have oil and give us these huge plans for the future at the annual shareholder meeting. So that obviously didn't happen. So now you're going to lose a lot of people in the short term. You're going to get a lot of people that have already sold, obviously, and you're going to get some more people that probably sell as well, because they're going to be like, you know what, screw this, I'm out, I'll get in, whenever they make a big announcement. That's what you're going to get. So in the meantime, you'll have, obviously, the people who are in for the long haul come back in and continue to accumulate and build their position and kind of wait it out. But man, I tell you, I thought that the meeting was honestly very well structured. I thought they had a lot of information at the meeting, although it wasn't necessarily maybe what we wanted to hear. So on the positive side, like I said, I thought it was very well structured and a lot of good info. It's just kind of like, man, kind of a letdown because it just felt, and that's just me kind of reading someone. Keep in mind that I have, I know nothing about, I don't know the CEO, I don't know the CEO, I don't know anything about these people, but it just seemed that Dunn was not as confident as he was last year while getting up and talking about some of these things. But on the positive side, like I said, I thought it was very well detailed, had a lot of good information. So what's the plan? Buy, sell, or hold? At this point, I'm looking at the big drop that we had, and I'm kind of thinking, well, I'm not selling anything yet. I'm going to watch it for the rest of the week. I didn't buy any more this week. I wanted to wait. I was going to buy on Monday. Then I saw the dip on Monday, and I said, okay, I'm going to wait it out because I want to see exactly what happens on Wednesday. I had some money available, and then boom, this happened. So now I'm just going to wait it out. I want to see over the next couple of weeks exactly what transpires. I have enough shares to where if they come out with some decent information, it's going to come up. But also, I don't want to, buy right now if it's going to go down to 10 cents, because I can get so many more shares at 10 cents than I can at 20 or 25 cents, obviously double what I can get. So someone had posted, I didn't catch that in the meeting, but I think someone had posted, I think on StockTwits, saying that the testing should be completed sometime in Q3. So we'll have to just kind of wait it out for that. So if someone can comment below, let me know if you caught that comment, because I didn't. I may have just missed that during the meeting, because I did kind of skip around a little bit to try to save time, because I know the meeting was pretty lengthy and I was trying to get this out to you. So anyway, guys, let's take a look at the charts and let's see what they're telling us. All right, guys, take a look at Zion Oil and Gas, ticker symbol ZNOG. Had a nice run up, like we said, to 42 cents. And then we had the little pullback on Monday. Classic, speculative run. And we do this with Zion Oil and Gas all the time. We always run up on something that could happen, and then we sell off on the day or the week of or whatever. Think about whenever they bought the rig. Okay, originally they hadn't even done anything, like they announced that they bought one or something. It hadn't even made it to Israel. The thing shot up several 100%. And then afterwards, we had the TBN network that shot the price up. And today, as soon as the meeting started, man, this thing just took a huge dip. And we're not even in undervalued territory on the 180-day 4 hours, so we could go lower. I think possibly retest that 16 cent mark. The good thing on a longer term standpoint is we're pretty much right by the red SMA line. So if we bounce off of that for some reason, then we need to get to just above 22 cents for the first level of resistance in 25, 29, 34, then 42. But if we break below that, okay, tomorrow's going to tell us a lot about what happens here. Is if we break below this red SMA line, then for sure we're going to probably see closer down to 10 cents again over the next couple of weeks with no news. Again, not trying to be negative, just trying to be realistic. So we did fulfill the cup, and I talked about how we could go as low as 20 cents, and then I felt that we could maybe find some support here. So I think tomorrow is going to tell us a lot on how we react and where we go from here. So like I said, I'm going to just kind of hang on for a couple of weeks, or at least the rest of the week, and I'm going to see what happens and just kind of see how it plays out and go from there. But anyway, guys, let me know your comments below. Let me know what you're doing moving forward. Other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.